Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
Well, I will open that up to kind of everyone on the panel. And again, thank everyone for participating in this. The energy, the wisdom, the time to stop and just be for a minute has been wonderful for me. And is there anything else that anyone would like to expand on a little bit? Or does anybody have questions for anybody else here?
And so Nate, I'm gonna also toss it to you as we open up the discussion. As the moderator, you can ask specific questions connected to the topic that we're working under, the pure spirituality, and whatever people addressed, and then we will all answer any of those questions that you might come forth with for us. So you get to be able to open that door for us to expand the discussion.
More about that. Well, it's funny because as I've listened to each, and I keep thinking, what are the questions? And I haven't written down many questions, but I have had lots of little insights. The inner world transforms the outer world. Nandaji, thank you. Gratitude is the base of awakening. Vortex of light. All of that upward movement, all of the sculpture that I work moves from this kind of upward flow. Hotep, the omnipresent self, as I thought about that, and the awareness of that consciousness beyond all of the attachments that we put to it, not only the labels and the roles that we play, but even our physical bodies and our male and femaleness, or any variation in between all of that, the physical, emotional, interfering, I think, a little bit with being. And then with Donna, the money is energy. That again was kind of interesting to me. I hadn't looked at it. I've always kind of thought of money as a tool, but hadn't really thought about it as an interactive energy source, and allowing my inner energy to direct, I guess, if you will, the energy that is inherent there, and that tool, to allow that to create and go out into the expanse and be of use, to put intent towards it rather than capitalism, profit, whatever it might be, but allowing that abundance to flow out to everybody. I wonder if we could expand maybe a little bit, Hotep, because all of these things, and even Sean and Nandiji, excuse me, I will get that.
Actually, Nandiji, I believe that's the way you say it, correct?
Nandiji, yes.
Yeah, with the emphasis on Nandiji, yeah.
Yes.
Nandiji. Okay, good. I wonder if you might expand a little bit on each of you, maybe take a second to just talk about, because it came to my head, the I am, the oneness, the consciousness that is. I remember reading a book, The Untethered Soul, and kind of understanding that, and for the first time feeling that I was more than my physical self, my emotional self, my spiritual self, my thinking. And maybe expand just a little bit, or if you have an additional thought on what that oneness means.
Okay, if you're asking me, I think the best way to identify that is to direct experience. So right now, and we've done it several times. Sean shared, and Nadi shared as well, and guided us into a meditation so that we can feel directly, because all the words that we're using is pointing to this one omnipresent self. Everything that every teacher will ever, any real teacher, any real master of self will be pointing to this one thing, the great I am, which is existence. And existence is before creation. There's no creation without existence. So existence never dissipates. It's not going in, you know what I'm saying? So it's not coming, it's not going, it's not in the realm of duality. Everything within existence is in the realm of duality, even the yin and yang. Not to take away from both of those forces is necessary. And if you come in harmony with that, then there's no disturbance in what your experience is, because you're intellectually aware that the yin and yang both have to exist, like God and the devil have to be. We used to pose the question, well, what would God be without the devil? You know what I'm saying? But when you get into energy, you go back into positive, negative forces. You're going back into the yin and the yang, the opposing forces. So that's what life is all about in the creation. But existence is observing it all. The I am is observing it all. So therefore, let's experience the great I am right now. You feel me? And all you have to do is, like the Christians say, be still and know I am. Be still and just observe your body's breathing, how it's breathing on its own without you trying, without any effort, the state of isness, because there is no effort in noticing how you're breathing. It's just a matter of observing. And notice your thoughts at the same time about whatever. Don't try to stop thoughts from coming. Just let them be there, but find what's noticing them. Discover that the thoughts are not noticing themselves and the body is not noticing itself, but there is a presence, an omnipresence that's noticing it. So the thoughts, the feeling, your five senses, whatever is being heard, you're acknowledging that your sense of hearing is working, your sense of feeling and smell and all of those things are functioning. Therefore, like Najee said, meditation is all the time. Once you tap into the omnipresent self, that is what meditation is all about. So at first it becomes a practice where you might have to go into a closet or something and light candles and do yoga and do everything. But at some point you can transcend all of the doing, like you said, Nate, and just be. Just shift your attention to it, to the great I am, and be. So let's do that right now for a minute or so. You'll experience it for yourself.
I'm going to add on to that with a couple of ideas that are flowing, if that's okay. Okay.
Please.
And thank you, Nate. That the I amness is such a powerful concept, and in the Christian scriptures, when Moses comes to Mount Sinai and he says, "Who shall I say sent me? What is this? The burning bush? Who are you?" And he just says, "I am that I am." And we tend to kind of skip over that and be like, yeah, he just, and then the Jewish tradition made it a law not to say his name because Jehovah was not to be said. But there's such power in I am in all of us, because let me just tell a quick little story. 30 seconds here. I was trying to figure out if I was going to move from a place I'd lived from New York City. I'd lived there for 25 years, and it was part of who I was. It was my identity. I am a New Yorker. I am a Broadway performer. I am this. I am that. And it was such a heart-wrenching, difficult decision that I couldn't make it. I could not bring myself to say, yes, you can sell your place and move out of this amazing, glorious city, because this is who you are. And this is how you introduce yourself around the world. And one night, literally a tearful night, as I was trying to struggle through this, and I caught on to the concept from the Bhagavad Gita that says detachment or attachment is the cause of all suffering. And I was suffering. And I was like, okay, yeah, because I'm attached to this. And then I had to go deeper and deeper and say, what are you attached to? You're attached to a label. I am a New Yorker. I am Sean Perry, who is a Broadway performer. I am this, that, the other. And then, and I had to say, okay, go to your true light self, your divine essence. Are you the capital S self? Are you a New Yorker? No. Are you a Broadway performer in the eternities, who I am? No, that's not who I am. And then I had to keep going deeper to I am, and cutting out these. And so am I even Sean Perry? No, that's a name my parents gave me when I was born. That's the name of this body that I go by here in this life. Okay, that's not who I am. Am I this body? No. Am I? So going deeper and deeper until I got to the true essence of just I am. That's it. I'm nothing. I am. And now can I make, from that space, can I make this very difficult decision? The decision was not difficult at all when I took it from that space of I am. And it's with that in mind, I've listened to a lot, a few of the lectures of Swami, just a minute, Sarvananda, beautiful, beautiful ideas and such. And he taught me about the 3 levels of our existence, and opened my mind deeper to our body, the senses, the mind thinking about things, and the observer behind that. You can observe your own thoughts. That is the deeper level. That's the I am. That is your essence that's observing your own thoughts. It's not the thoughts themselves. You are the observer of those thoughts. And it's that deeper level of consciousness that we can tap into, the observer that was mentioned. And even in Qigong, they talk about Jing, Qi, and Shen, the 3 levels of deepening of spirituality. And so with that in mind, I think it's beautiful that we are human beings. We're the only ones that say beings, because we are the ones who can be. All the other animals on the planet are not capable of just being and completely centering and releasing the distractions and living in a state of I am. And we can. We're in a spiritually evolved space that we can live in I am and be a human being and just be, which is so powerful to practice. And then of course we go forth and do and teach and live, always returning and living in I am. So just a few thoughts.
No, and those thoughts are exactly what it's amazing how this comes together. And Hotep talking about the omnipresent self is that observer, is that I am. Am I making that connection? We may talk about it in different terms. Nandaji talking about that pillar going all the way through from feeling grounded but expanding out, and that awareness Sorry, I just feel like my mind is just trying to absorb all this information.
And that's the point. The point is to shut you up. The whole point is to silence you. Is to silence you and to silence everybody. And I'm not disrespecting you. I'm sharing. It's good that your mind got so to a point where I don't know what to say anymore, because that's where you're going beyond the words. At that point, your mind was supposed to stop, or you're supposed to observe the space in between the thought and that which is observing the thought, and there's silence there. There's peace. There's no movement. There's nothing. It's nothingness, because something began with H1, the hydrogen atom. They labeled that as sum of a thing, SUM. It's the sum of a thing. But no thing is what was considered prior to H1, the hydrogen atom. But now that's been broken down to ethers. So now that's been given a label. But you're getting into the degrees of nothingness, which is something just without the number. And that is the intellectual breakdown of it, but it's better to just sit in it as the silent watcher. Because as long as there's conversation, you can lose it. You'll lose sight of it. You can't lose it, because existence is before creation. But you'll lose sight of your attention to go back into overthinking, and you'll be back in your mind full of confusion, full of questions, full of what is this, what is that? Well, you go back into teaching. Right. But a teacher, when you get here, there's no need. A teacher, like Sean was saying, you strip away all titles, even teacher, because as long as you have a desire to teach, that's a person having a desire. Because the observer doesn't have a desire. The observer is just observing. But it's so fine of a state of existence that most of us miss it, because the person is in the way.
Yeah.
Nandiji, I would love to hear some of your thoughts on what we're talking about.
Like, this is a beautiful hologram when we say I am that I am, because we are experiencing time, and beyond time is the timelessness. And beyond timelessness, once again, is that which we experience as in time. So when we say we sit still, we are in stillness, and the I am is in stillness, the reality is, this actually began with my question, and that is, how are you able to sit down for days, if not years, meditating without moving, and what's going on over there? And that's, I spent a lot of time with my gurus just to understand this experience. And what I realized was that when we go into the I am, we tap into the ecstasy, joy states of being the dancer. And inside the dancer, you're finding that stillness. And inside the stillness is the dancer. It goes on and on, time and timelessness, time and timelessness, time and timelessness. So when we are in a meditative state, we are in the states of joy and ecstasy. And in this ecstasy, everything is within that ecstasy. Everything is within that ecstasy. That's the timelessness. And that observer is in time, ourselves again, observing that. And if we are looking into seeing how do we then still ourselves, this dance is what contributes to our stillness. Now, coming back into this I am, okay, now we understand ourselves being the pillar of light, and being the pillar of light, being source itself. But then as being source, when we are in that particular states of being source, there's the vibrancy. And that vibrancy is the dancer. So Lord Shiva is mentioned as the 5 elements. When you start talking from the earth, water, fire, air. But when you get to ether, infinite, infinite, infinity, he's depicted as a dance. Now, this is the I am. This is the I am of the dance. So to be in the dancer is to step into timelessness. That's why when we meditate, we enjoy it, because we stepped into timelessness. And this timelessness is that which is the spirit. So when you say we are the spirit having the human experience, it is this timelessness aligned in time. It is the dancer sitting in stillness. It is the stillness that is dancing. So in this dimension, when we're looking in, especially for, like when we are looking into being that light, in being light is that states of joy, just, like the sun shining its light, is that states of joy, or rather I would say that states of stillness that is emitting the dance. So when you say there are 3 states of mind, like starting with the tamas, which is that which is inertia, that which is negative, that which is hard emotions, or rajasic, which is okay, it's action, it's states of joy. But then the moment you move to sattvic, which is being the pristine states, over here, it's very much like you are the dancer dancing, and you are in the stillness, and you do not identify with these both, because you're both. So coming back to your yin and yang, it's once again the time and timelessness, the dance and the dancer and the stillness. So it's a beautiful, it's like what I'm putting words to experience, to express. And at the same time, like with any one of us, when we meditate, the reason why we feel so good about it is we've stepped into timelessness, but at the same time, that vibrancy is called Satchidananda, which is being God itself. Satchidananda means we've attained becoming bliss itself. And that bliss is really the dance and the dancer, the ecstasy of being light.
The ecstasy of being light. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you could expand a little bit more, maybe also on where did I put it? The ecstatic chanting.
Yes.
I may have started something, and I don't know what that is. So forgive my
Before he does that, do you mind if I just comment a little bit on what he said? I love what he said.
Yes.
I thank you. Yeah, I'm a professional dancer. And so as you talked about the dance, and I'd heard that, I'd read the dance of Shiva, and I actually have a Nagaraja in my home in New York. And he's in the dance with the fire circle around him, and conquering the evil below his foot, and the creator and the destroyer. And it's just beautiful. But I hadn't connected what you just said before, going from the 5 levels up to the ether. And then that's when he's described as doing the dance, is once you get to the ether level. And when, as a dancer, and all professional or anyone who studies and does dance on a deeper level will completely relate to the timelessness. Once when you go into the dance and you're moving and you're experiencing that connection, the kinesthetic flow, and I've come to be aware that that is also our electromagnetic energy is cycling with the flow of the movement of the body. It's just one of the most powerful and beautiful spiritual experiences I've ever had is in the dance.
True.
Physically, but it also connects on that spiritual level. So under just the way you describe that, just connected on such a deeper level for me, having danced for 30 years professionally, is just that the ecstasy of the dance of that, and your spirit and your soul the soul and the body truly becoming one and expressing as one, rather than trying to express in the physical realm, and it's not really connecting to the spiritual. The dance is where it connects on such a deeper level, and the time disappears. Absolutely. You go into what I call the bubble, like, and everything else disappears, and you are in that space and in the zone, as they say, and then you come back and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I do need to go shopping, and what's for dinner, and everything else comes back. But for that time, you're in the I am space, dancing.
Oh yeah.
The timelessness, as you described it, I realized that connection is something I've felt when I'm in a creative process in my studio, working with the metal, welding, creating that. Time disappears. The temperature doesn't matter. So I feel when I'm in those spaces sometimes like I'm folding space and time, because it can be 110 degrees in my garage, but it doesn't bother me. It can be cold and I just keep working. I don't feel it. That creative process, that energy of being in that ethos, is that how you described it? And maybe that's the alignment when you bring all of that stuff together, and there's the energy in creating that. That's the stillness. At the same time, that's the dance. It's like, and the movement. I feel like I need to move, even though I'm very and anyway. Thank you. Yeah.
And then one other thing that I love, because I was contemplating and I was going to actually bring it up, and I love that you brought up the the gunas, and moving through from the tamas level of that inertia and of the lower level that we all process through, that of some might call it lesser level of enlightenment, or living in that space, and then moving into the level of the rajas, where we have objectives, we have goals, we were making money, we're trying to do and create an empire, and that's part of manifestation, understanding our power of being a divine being, a manifestor, a creator, learning how to create in the Maya, and then going into sattva, where it's not about the power and how much you own or how much power you have or all of that. It goes into a different level of charity and beauty and a more transcendent space of the why. And then as I was literally just reading about this, and it explained that I'm trying to remember where it was, is in the Vedic texts, but it talked about there's a level beyond the gunas. And once you have transcended even the sattvic level, then you are not beholden to the Maya anymore, to the illusion of the reality. You've transcended beyond the three gunas, and even beyond that. Even when you're in the sattvic level, you are still attached because you're trying to do good. And when you can go past that, then you just are light. You are good. You're not trying to be anything.
What you mentioned is the states of Turia. And that state of Turia is within every one of us. Like our brother was mentioning, that when he was working, he went into timelessness. I would rather say that when we have seen the light, now we know. Now we have the powerful energies of inspiration. And that energies of inspiration really is the states of Turia, of being the many as one. It's literally like being the Superman with a super mind. In so many different dimensions, we spin and we are constantly in that vibrancies, simply shining our light in if we sit still, we know where to go. When we are in the reality world, we spin realities. We manifest realities with ease. Now, that particular states of Turia has seldom been expressed. The sages say that this state of Turia is also goddess Mahalakshmi, the one who actually provides us abundance. Because the reality over here is the manifestation happens in ease. So this, when you're meditating, that there's a chakra, we say there's a chakra above us, one chakra above our crown. But the reality is that 18 chakras above the crown.
Yes.
Even this number 18 is sort of limiting.
Yeah.
Right.
So it just goes on. Now, the moment we tapped into even one of that, once it climbed up above, we are beginning to say we are having the spirit, we are the spirit having the human experience. But now, as a spirit itself, there are so many different, it's like expanding consciousness way beyond the mind, way beyond any limits. So it's natural at these states to not feel hungry anymore, to have gone to the sleepless sleep. Now when you come back into the human to experience sleep, your sleep itself is different. In the sense, when you really want to sleep deep, there's no more rapid eye motion states at all. We do not dream. There are no dreams anymore. So when you sleep in this state, when you wake up, you think you've slept for 1,000,000 years and you've woken up. But that is, you're able to do it once you've transcended the mind. Now you're able to master sleep as well, because you've climbed up beyond the states of the mind. Now, when you say karma is fate, that is when you're experiencing it with your mind. The moment you've climbed up to being the spirit having the human experience, now you're beginning to negate the laws of karma. You are the master of your destiny. So this is why, like for us, when we are on the spiritual path, we sort of like know in the back of our mind, this exists. That's why we are threading through this. But the reality is, if we did experience it at all times, now we know that we are in that, it's the mind itself is like a swan. Now, there's a mythical story of taking milk and mixing it with water. And this mythical swan was supposed to be able to drink just the milk, leaving the water inside. This is supposed to be our mind that is able to function no matter what, in being able to make the right decisions. And that is the state of Turia, the state above and beyond the mind.
Where does it talk about Turia? I have not read that. Like you say, it's not mentioned a lot, but so that word is new to me. Where is that found? And maybe we can be in touch afterwards if you can like share some of the texts where it might be found.
My music is called Turia Nada. And the reason I named it Turia Nada was, this guru of mine who was meditating for 18 years, I used to go and spend my night behind his cave. He would not know I was there, but all night long, I would stay up just to experience the energy bliss coming from his meditation. At 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, he would start singing. And when he sang, it felt like all the angels from heaven descended. There was so much of ecstasy. So later on, when I came to America and I would meditate, he would come to me saying, sing for the world. And I would feel so shy because I could never imagine singing for anyone else. But somehow the whole thing manifested and I had created my music. And later on, when they did the kinesiology check on it, they say any vibration above 500 heals, anything above 800 enlightens, and anything above 1,000 is said to be rare. Ours was said to have broken the 1,200 limit. But that's only because I don't like to use the word channeling, but then when you are in that field of energy, that's what you do. You allow that energy to pass through you. And when you are working with that energy, you are connecting to, see, if you go see any enlightened master, the only thing worth asking that enlightened master for is, give me a piece of your consciousness. And nothing else is really worth asking or receiving from a master. So when you are receiving this in the form of a mantra, now we come back into the I am dimension, because every mantra has a core within it. And that core within it is the dancer. So if you observe any mantra, now Siddha mantras especially are heart-based. They are not intellectual. They are more resonance of sound. So within all the mantras, there will be the ecstasy element like a core, like a seed within it. So when you go into that seed of the mantra and go on and on and on, what you invoke, you have become. So when you say what you've invoked, you have become, now you are the I am. But through the vibrancy of the mantra and within the mantra is the timelessness, and you've tapped into that. And when you've tapped into that, now you have become the form that you have invoked. Right? Now, when you have become the form you have invoked, you also are the spirit. And that is the spirit of that dimension is the Turia states. So it's amazing because in the states of Turia, like every one of us have it within us. But when we wake up to the states of Turia, what is beautiful is every one of us have a unique Siddhi, and they start waking up. Like in so many ways. And it could be in spectacular ways. You know, we wouldn't even imagine it existed within us, and yet it wakes up. So the state, I would say that when we do yoga, when we meditate, the objective of all this, we might say, yes, it's source union, but the practical dimension is attaining the states of Turia, the states of higher consciousness. That is the objective of your yoga, your meditation. Because here, now you are source connected all the time. You attain your union. But that union, now you're translating it through your intellect as wisdom.
Now, this is interesting, and Hotep, I'm sure you have some ideas and many beautiful ideas about this as well. One of the things I hear as I teach, as I share and work is what I try to help is something that you just mentioned, is in the reality. Like people are going to work, they're dealing with their children, school, trying to pay the bills, trying to live, just they've got so many things, and so it's fascinating to me. And that's one of the reasons I chose the topic I did of opposition being a guru, because that's something that's 100% applicable to everyday life. If we can change the mentality of what is opposition, and if we can truly live, not just understand it, but live in that space of it's all good. that, and then we stop being frustrated, we stop being upset, we stop being angry, and we just live in this beautiful space of this is for my growth, this is fine, this is good. I don't have to get mad in traffic when somebody cuts me off. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you live in this different space, and I think that's, you know, one practical level of what you're talking about. Of you know, so I'm trying to understand the Turia. Is it above, when I mentioned above the sattva, above the gunas? That's the Turia. That's it. So above it. And does that only happen in meditation and in, like, when you're like awakening that Kundalini energy and you're in that euphoric state? Is that what you're talking about, or can it be?
It can happen when
all the time.
When you're dancing. It could happen when you're doing something with ecstasy. It could happen when you're making love. You know, like, it's just essentially a part of you, which is the spirit, really. And that spirit, you tapped into that spirit knowledge, that spirit wisdom, that spirit vibrancy.
So it's not necessarily something that's going to be with you throughout every single moment of every day, while you're cooking your meal, while you're driving your car,
you want to have it every moment.
Okay.
You want to have it, you want to be in that state every moment, while you're cooking, while you're with your children, whatever.
While you're doing your accounting, your taxes.
Yes, you're in a dance, you're in a happy state, no matter what.
Right.
As experiencing reality.
That was the point I was making, and I didn't want to say it. I wanted to hear you say it.
See, look, consciousness is the guru, and the guru is consciousness. Now, if you say the guru, then we say, let's talk about the 5 gurus. The first is your mother and father, your first guru. The second is your breath. Your own breath is your guru. The third guru are the ones who basically guide you to waking up your own light. The fourth guru is the guru inside you, your inner guru. The fourth guru wakes you up to make you understand that everybody has become your guru. Life has become your guru. So what threads all of this is consciousness.
Hotep, what are you thinking?
I'm not thinking anything, actually. I'm just observing it all, you know.
I figured so much, but you have a lot of wisdom, and if we don't talk about things, I get the power of silence, but the whole purpose of this festival is to be able to, you know, and obviously, if we don't share in peace, then we can't.
You're right. That's why I'm sitting here. That's why I'm sitting here observing and allowing everybody to express.
I love
the person could, you know, the mind might say, okay, you got other things to do. This is not for you. But the wisdom says, this is not just for me, the person, it's for all. So there's many ways of expressing this pure state of consciousness. And we're sharing it through these platforms. And so there's no wrong answer. We're only gaining more clarity, because the objective is, like everyone said, is to reach this state of ecstasy, of constant joy, constant peace, constant harmony. So, and we're affecting the collective consciousness. You know, right now we're, obviously, if it's the one playing as the many, we're affecting the collective. So my job, after I say what I have to say, is to sit still and let everybody else share, and make sure that I'm not irritated if I disagree with one word or another word, because we have different languages and different ways of describing this. So I can't say somebody is wrong. But I love, even when I heard something like what you did, Sean, because I know Najib started out by saying you couldn't stay at this state the whole time. You know, you would lose this state of ecstasy. When you first started, you said you can't maintain it. And then Sean, he picked up on that and made and directed you, because you knew the answer. You can stay here. And he knew he could stay here. Sean made you say it out of your own mouth. And my job was to watch it all and just enjoy the collaboration and the collective guidance to the purity that all is.
Thank you, Divine Brother.
That was beautiful. That in and of itself is wisdom. Just hearing about that. Thank you. Yeah, Nate, we can keep going, or like I said, if we feel like it's like this is complete, when it feels right, we can wrap it up. And so I'll leave that energy, that call to you as the moderator.
I think it feels good. I wanted to just thank each of you again, and Hotep, your presence and stillness as I watched this whole thing, I'm like, man, did he put a picture up there? And I'm like, no, that's him. He is just that still. He is just that, and still maybe is the right word. And whether that's I am, whether that's this higher level, and how we talk about each of those and attain that individually is our own language, is our own journey, all leading to the same consciousness and generating a oneness and a unity throughout. So I think, again, I appreciate and thank each of you for your time, for your willingness to be a part of this, for your energy into putting this in and together. And I see so yes, I just say thank you, gratitude, and I think we can wrap it up unless others have something to say.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Namaste.
Namaste, divine beings.
Namaste to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, divine being. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, divine brothers. You know, like, it's been such a joy to be here. You know, the presence of all the light. To Nate, to beloved brother Hotep, all of brother Yugandhar, to all of us here. Namaste and gratitude for this enormous, you know, like when we multiply light, when we come together, our light multiplies each other. And when we say we multiply each other, there's the collective consciousness that we are actually uplifting just by being present and being with each other. And grateful for your blessings. Thank you. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you. Gratitude.
Amen.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we can close this session. Thank you, everyone. This has been absolutely enlightening and uplifting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hotep.